marriage and having a kid has been another has given a fresh perspective, and a lot of it I think comes down to sacrifice. You have to, especially as a college athlete, a lot of it is about taking care of yourself, and whether it be your diet, your routine, your schedule. And when you have a significant other, your wife, then your life does change, because now it's not just about your schedule, it's about someone else's schedule. And living with someone's a huge difference, having to make sacrifices in that respect too. And having a kid is also, I mean, it's been another reflection period where I have to realize, okay, it's not about me, and I have to make changes in my life that's going to help raising my young child. So yeah, I think that's brought a lot of perspective to coaching and just to life in general. And wrestling, it isn't in our identity, and you're so right about that. I think there's things that you can bring from wrestling. There's those matches where you stick in it and you end up winning, or you have those really gritty matches, and you can take that character or that mentality to life. That even when that you're having a terrible week, like we've all had those days, you go home and you're just like, what am I doing? Or
Yeah.
this is just maybe not right for me, and you're kind of reconsidering like whether you want to do something else, and then but you stick through it, and you see the fruit of that later. But I think that's more of a character that wrestlers have, that they're extremely gritty, and they're going to keep trying their best.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's just a vehicle, and I think it's at some point you have to get out of it. Like you have to get off it. You have to go do other things. Because if you don't, and you don't bring that stuff that you learned from the sport with you, it's like, why were you really doing it? Like you're just trying to get your hand raised. I mean, all that stuff kind of fades eventually. And if you're somebody that's like, and I'm sure we both can maybe think of people that are like this, but maybe had some success at some level in the sport, and then that was like their peak of their life, and they still carry it with them.
Yep, absolutely. That we all know, from high school, or a lot of times kids that were from youth, like they're killer in their youth program and on the youth stage, and then they kind of fizzle out a little bit. And I think it goes back to what you said. It goes back to whether you make it your identity, or whether it's about the person that you become after wrestling. And that says a lot about the coaching too. It's ultimately, like, you as a coach, you have that's a huge responsibility that you're pouring into these kids, and where you place your values will ultimately have an effect on your kids as well. So if for you it's about the people that they are after high school, then that's going to, I think, pay dividends to these kids in the future.